Hello, 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 everyone. This is Jasmine again with a Notch Higher Living YouTube channel, and I am so grateful and glad to be back with you with another wonderful person and a beautiful episode. This is my friend. I know this person personally. This is Lanisha Mullin. Welcome, Lanisha.
Hi, Jasmine. So glad to be here.
So glad to have you. I'm gonna sing a song for you. Like I said, I know you, and for the audience and viewers, I know Lanisha personally, so that's why I'm very grateful. I don't know everyone personally, but when I do know the people personally, I want to acknowledge it. So we're going to get right into this episode, and because Lanisha is a friend of mine and a very good friend of mine, I am going to read Lanisha's bio first, because if you didn't know who Lanisha Mullin is, you need to know. So here it goes. Lanisha, are you ready? Get your flowers.
I'm ready.
This is part of your flowers.
So sweet already.
Yes. All right. This is only partial flowers. This is professional flowers. So Lanisha Mullin is a Supplier Diversity Manager within the financial services industry. Her primary responsibility is to mature a supply diversity strategy through outreach and engagement, inclusion, and partnership. Did you hear all those connections that she has? Woo! That she does for people. With more than 10 years of experience in the banking industry, she has held various roles in the technology, finance, and procurement areas. Prior to becoming the Supplier Diversity Manager, she served as the purchasing manager for a regional bank, managing ordering and invoicing requirements with suppliers across various commodities. I'm smiling big because in 2021, this is why I'm smiling, because I remember this moment for her personally. Lanisha was named a corporate buyer of the year in We Magazine. Woo! Yes, people don't usually read bios like this, but again, I know Lanisha. I get to. She was recognized for her efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic. Lanisha holds a diversity of executive certification, a Master's of Science in Administration from Central Michigan Gold Chips, Fire Up Chips, and a Bachelor's in Psychology from Oakland University. And outside of her work, Lanisha enjoys traveling, staying active, and is an avid reader. So welcome, Lanisha Mullin.
Oh, Jasmine, thank you for that great reading of my bio.
You
I
are
appreciate
welcome.
all the added color. Thank you.
I had to give it to you because it's like you get your flowers, but you also get a little bit extra. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are very welcome. So I am excited for this interview. So we met through our friend and spiritual warrior princess, Vanessa. And I remember when I first met you, you were like your bio said, you were in the financial industry, but you were looking at different options. But then recently you received, or you are entering into, and you've entered into a new role. I wanted you to share more about your role and the connection and your passion about your role. You don't have to share what you are comfortable in sharing. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm really excited to share and excited to be in the role that I'm in. It'll be a year in April. So I'm super excited. I can't believe that a year has already gone by with me sitting in this role as the Supplier Diversity Manager.
Right.
This is a position that I sought out and was specifically looking for. I had seen a Supplier Diversity Manager at one of my prior roles in another company and saw all the great work that they were doing. I saw how the role was set up, how empowered they were to really utilize different resources to find diverse suppliers and bring them to large companies within the financial institutions. And it was something that I was interested in. And thankfully, that resource was very open and willing for me to learn from her. She was very helpful in answering questions. She was very helpful in helping me make the connections around what the role really entails. And the role has allowed me to really find my purpose. And my purpose is to really help diverse businesses grow. And I try to leave it just as it is in that statement. Growth can mean a lot of different things. It can
Mhm.
be a simple conversation, it can be an idea sparking. Ideally, it's actually having a contract between the company I work for and that diverse business, because that contract allows for the diverse business to provide that product or service that they're offering to my company and get paid for it. And that payment helps that diverse business being able to grow and scale. And ideally, it also helps the community that they live in. So by me helping diverse businesses grow, it really actually has a impact to the community. And really the idea is that that impact will help decrease the wealth gap that exists in the country today.
Yes, I love that. You said you love to help diverse businesses grow, and that healthy growth that is like sustainable. And like you said, it impacts the communities. Oh my gosh. See why Lanisha's on here today, everybody? I had to capture that right in real time. So, one thing that you shared with us was an amazing commercial that you actually produced for your current role. Let me see. And it helped highlight the disparities in Black businesses.
Mhm.
Why is it such an important topic to address from your personal observation?
I think it's an important topic because it's one that people have essentially accepted when it doesn't have to be accepted. If there was more of a change and more attention brought on how much of a disparity there is, I
Mhm.
think that people's eyes would be a bit open to realizing that while there are so many things that we are addressing in the country over the last few years, over the decades, tied to race and tied to the majority versus minority, but business ownership is something that is still there, still outstanding, still needs attention, and still needs support and a solution to really be brought about to ensure there's balance across all the different minorities and diverse business classes. Some of the things that I shared with you are information pieces that I was able to gather from different resources, including the Michigan Minority Supplier Development Council,
Mhm.
which is referred to as MMSDC. And they had a study and it talked about parity, and it shared ultimately that it would take 333 years for a Black owned business and other minority businesses to reach the same parity that white owned businesses have today. Meaning, if you were to take the population of those diverse businesses and the number of people that are minorities in those different groups and equate that to how many businesses they actually own, that's where the disparity lies. It's going to take that much time for us to really find that balance unless we do something different, unless we accelerate what's being done today and provide more opportunities for diverse businesses or really minority owned businesses to have a chance to get those contracts, to be able to really essentially fund their own have funds for their families, have funds for their businesses to scale
Right.
and to grow. So there's a lot of different disparities out there, but that one from that study was very eye-opening. And I think if people paid more attention to it, we could really see some change occur. But
Mhm.
that changes with every decision that we make.
That's true.
In my role today and how I found my passion, I make conscious decisions now to support diverse owned businesses.
Understood.
So the shirt I'm actually wearing today is from a diverse owned business that I ran across in the
I
airport
love
when
it.
I was on a trip just recently, and I really
Yes.
appreciated it. But it's something that I just take notice of in everything
Mhm.
that I do, and as much as possible, make a conscious decision to purchase from a diverse owned business, knowing it does have an impact.
I love that. And you do make your ancestors proud, ma'am.
Thank you. It's cute, right?
Yes, yes. I think it's like you said, one decision at a time. And you said it, a conscious decision. I love how you brought that in because it's not simply a program to impress anyone. It is something that is conscious and it's something that someone has to, and we all have to do our part. And we have to actually believe in it and not think that if we put up a diversity sign that we're diverse. So I love how you said that. One thing that I needed to pause because I did not want to let this go as you were speaking. And I love that mug too. Is that somewhere purchased?
Yes, this is also purchased from a Black-owned business. This is someone's individual handmade craft that they're selling at different pop-up shops. But thank
Okay.
you. I appreciate you noticing.
Yes. See, you're living your truth. I love that. I love that. So that's what it was. The way that you were engaged and the way that you talked about the study from the commercial and the research that you had. One thing that the channel, this YouTube channel is creating a space and cultivating an environment where healthy relationship skills can be learned, developed, practiced, and thrive. And vocation or career and business is one of those areas that I focus on and I bring people on. That's why I wanted to bring you on today because you are really focused and you are very strategic in aligning what you believe and what your role is. And like we were talking about earlier, everyone doesn't have that opportunity. Some people, they work and they work because it brings home a check. And it's not that they don't love their job, but it's not really aligned with some of the core values or their core passions. But what you're talking about is that you have an option, an opportunity in your role to do what you love personally, as well as allow your organization to excel in what they're doing. So for Black businesses specifically, what are 1 to 3 things that in your view, in your purview as a supplier diversity manager, that they can do and that we can do to accelerate or connect with financial institutions or connect with resources that would help businesses grow?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Sometimes people try to do too much and try to boil the ocean as soon as they get started as a new business. I think it's really important to make your business whole and valued on its own without needing to essentially move forward in the kind of diversity realm. Make sure you're able to produce a good product and service and compared to anyone else. Of course, you want to make sure your business is
Yes.
stable. You want to have a good reputation. You want to have a good financial review. Be be up to par from a risk standpoint. Have all of your insurance and your procedures all your ducks in a row, essentially. So I would say that's the first thing is focus on your business and making your business stable, so that when you are approaching a larger company or a financial institution, the fact that you're diverse is essentially the cherry on top. It's a bonus
Yes.
for that business, so that they can attribute it to supplier diversity, so that they can essentially showcase the fact that they are doing their part to help the community. But your business should be able to stand on its own, ideally. Um, so that's the first thing I would say
I
is
love it.
focus on your business and
Stability.
doing,
Mhm.
yeah, really trying to address your passion and make your business stable. The second thing I would suggest is once your business is stable, you want to get it certified. So, certification is something that happens with one of the certifying organizations, and there are various ones across the country. The ones for minorities, for Black owned businesses, that's going to be the National Minority Supplier Development Council. You can go on their website. They will have a link to all of their regional councils. One of the regional councils is the MMSDC that I mentioned before, the Michigan Council. And you would work with them and they would take you through the certification process. You would need to prove that your business is 51% or more owned, operated, and controlled by a minority group or multiple individuals who are part of that minority.
Okay.
That certification will help you get in the door for specific interactions with people like me across all industries.
Yeah.
So just today, I was actually at an event where it was specifically tied to supplier diversity, and there was a trade fair, and
Okay.
I managed a booth and I met with diverse suppliers. If you're
Okay.
not a diverse supplier, you won't have that direct access.
Okay.
So being certified helps you move in that direction.
Okay.
There are some other options in case you're not certified yet. So if you self-identify, that's an option, but not every company will count you as diverse if you're not certified. So it's
Okay.
best to be certified overall.
Okay.
So that's the second thing I would mention.
Mhm.
Um, the third thing I would mention is that it's really important to market yourself. So when I'm at trade fairs and I'm talking to different people, it's about the impression that they make on me. It's about what they're sharing about their business. So you need to have a very good pitch. You need to be able to have a pitch in a couple minutes. You should have business cards at the ready. You should have a capability statement at the ready. And then you should be able to stay in contact with me. So if you get my information, my work email address, my LinkedIn, it's about reaching out and it's about sharing what new things your company is doing, sharing what new capabilities you've started, how you worked with another financial institution that's a similar size as mine to showcase the fact that you can scale and grow and meet the demands
Mhm.
that are out there. So marketing yourself is very important because overall, I will say, I don't always have an immediate need for a diverse supplier for a
Okay.
specific
Makes sense.
requirement.
Mhm.
It could, but at the same time, it could be next week, it could be next month, it could be
Yes.
6 months from now. So it's all about, staying in touch and connecting and making sure that you market yourself and all the great things that your company is doing.
That makes so much sense. And I'm going to give you a follow-up question because you said something. Can you explain again, I'm learning and developing. What is a capability statement?
So a capability statement is essentially think of it as a resume for your business. It's
Okay.
a one-page document that gives the background of your business, the types of offerings you have, if it's specific products, if it's specific services.
Okay.
It's where you add value by your company doing the work. So, what is it that you bring to the table? And then it's things like your contact information or
Okay.
your other key customers that you want us to know about who may be willing to provide references to you. And then it also always lists your certifications if you have any.
Nice. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for explaining that. So if you don't have a capability statement, you want to look into getting one. So please look at this video over because as you can already hear, there's been such knowledge given and such resources, so many resources. And I think it's so much information that if you were to, um, if you were to pause and if you were to go to a workshop, this would be something that you would have to pay for. So bringing it free to you, but it may not always be
Yes.
free. I'm just but no, thank you so much for sharing that insight. So, again, for the way that your trajectory has gone in your roles, you are now in a place where you're sitting in rooms and you're privy inside of rooms and to have resources and information come across your path. So you talk about the disparities, specifically with Black people. Historically, we know that um, there has been real disparities and real
Absolutely.
obstacles for people of color, Black people specifically in our country. It
Mhm.
is what it is, and I don't minimize it, but I don't maximize it either. In the sense of when I'm looking at you, you are within the role to be able to have a voice and to assist communities and communities of color. How would you encourage people, specifically the Black community, and even with all the disparities, how would you encourage them to continue to move forward?
Um, that's a good question. It's a hard question too,
Mhm.
because as a Black woman, we know the different challenges that we face. I
Mhm.
think we know that sometimes we hit a wall and there's a level of acceptance overall to just kind of, hey, this is the world we live in. It's
Yeah.
always going to be this way. You just kind of, you find a way to kind of maneuver through it and live your life as best as you can.
Mhm.
When I add that layer of the business world and thinking of that person as their own, entrepreneur, that's another added level of obstacles that they have to face. I
Sure.
would I would really encourage them to face the challenge of, you know, ownership of a business the same way they face any challenge. The great thing I think about Black people is that we have really faced a lot of different things, but the reality is we still move past them. Despite all we've been through, we still succeed. We still are able to be in different rooms that we weren't in before. We're still able to pass the ceiling that was placed on us generations ago. So I would say to continue to push forward. I think of, a book that I think, Jasmine, you happen to have just read, that I just read. And, it talks about the saying, this too shall pass. And I
Mm,
do think that this disparity will pass,
mhm.
just like so many other things have that we've gotten through that we really didn't think would be able to get through. I think of
Yes.
slavery overall, and I think of that meme about, people watching movies about slavery and like, I wouldn't have survived, I couldn't have done it.
Right.
It wouldn't have been
Seriously.
me.
It wouldn't.
I would have
Yeah.
been the first to go. You think
Yes.
of all those things. And,
Sure.
and I know that at some point, sure, slaves also thought there's no way that we're going to be free. There's no way. But it did happen. And
Yeah.
I think the same thing about every single obstacle that Black people face is that we think that there's not a way, but it will happen one day. And we all hope that it's in our lifetime that those things will be eliminated and we will have equity. And who's to say it won't? So continue to push forward, because that day could be right around the corner. And you want to set yourself up for success by doing the thing that you really are passionate about. And if that is your business, then
Mhm.
continue forward with your business.
I love that. Thank you so much for encouraging the viewers and anyone who's out there working, doing the work, wanting to do the work, or has aspired to do the work, but you may need to get back into the ring. One conversation that I want to include as you were speaking, I recently interviewed Dr. Sarah Webb, and she actually has a has founded, and it's an organization. It's called Colorism Healing, and she spoke about colorism because sometimes we talk about, well, a lot of times we talk about racism, but we don't include colorism. The reason why I wanted to bring that in the conversation is because what you just said, there have been so many layers. And the way that Dr. Webb talked about colorism, she said you can't talk about racism without colorism because that was part of the divide to create hierarchy. So I don't have a question for you with that. I just want to bring that into the conversation for other people because I think a lot of times, even when we're talking about community, those are the hard topics, like you said, hard questions to answer because we can say, okay, we want to be diverse and then we want to bring Black communities together. But there are some specific healing practices that we obviously want to address. And I'm addressing it here on my channel because this is why I created the channel, because it's not always an easy topic and it's not always an easy movement or practice. But I think, just like you said, if we keep moving forward, like our ancestors did, they did not see light at the end of their tunnel, but they had a hope within. So I wanted to bring that in the conversation again, not for a specific question. At the same time, I understand that layer, and I see that's what you're actually being a voice to be able to connect people, communities, resources, and the opportunity and option to keep moving forward. So I wanted to add that element because as you were speaking, it was just like it can be easy to leave one piece out, even as we know, even in the civil rights movement, there were a lot of men who moved forward. But I met Mrs. Nash, one of the ladies from um, North Carolina, and her voice was muted in that movement as well. So it's not always an easy conversation, but as you eloquently are stating, continuing to move the conversation forward, we can bring elements in and we can one by one change the narrative. So I want to honor you and thank you for giving encouragement to people. So we are not going to be long. I have another question. I keep looking down at my questions because it's like I'm engulfed in your answers. I'm like, ask the question, ask the question. So, um, oh, are there any events, programs, or recommended networks that your company hosts or offers to business owners? Or you gave some specifics about certifications. Is there anything that you would recommend to business owners, people of color, for them to get involved in?
Yeah, I would suggest starting off with your local chamber of commerce, if
Hmm.
there is one. There are typically one for various affinity groups or races, just depending on what's there near you.
Okay.
The event I went to today was actually through a chamber of commerce, and chambers of commerce are all about helping to grow those businesses. They usually have great connections with companies. There is usually some sort of membership fee, but they have a lot of events, a lot of resources.
Nice.
Similar to them, there are the certifying organizations. So you can join those, the National Minority Supplier Development Council or one of their regional councils, and they will help you with a capability statement. And they will have
Nice.
resources also tied to helping you with capital or grant writing or different things like that. And I don't work for them, and I don't know
Understood.
the specifics of,
This is not a
what
paid
they offer.
advertisement.
Yeah, it's not an advertisement or anything. I'm not paid to say any of this. It's more so this is my understanding of what they offer. It's really tied to resources. Both
Understood.
the
Yes.
chamber, yeah, both the chamber and both the councils that are out there.
Okay.
Um, and so I would suggest those. And even if you're not able to join one of those organizations, I think it's always a good idea to take a look at your current relationships. So if you work, or I should say
Hmm.
not work, if you do business with a financial institution,
Hmm.
why not check out that financial institution's website? Quite
Smart.
frankly. So if
Okay.
you have a mortgage or you are doing any kind of credit
Nice.
cards or anything
Hmm.
like that, that's a company in itself. They will likely talk about how you become a supplier.
It's a great idea.
And yeah, and this is not specific to financial institutions.
Yes.
Every company has a website.
Yes.
And if you peruse their website, I would put in keywords like supplier diversity, suppliers. They will likely have a page that takes you to a portal, gives you someone's contact information, and you
Okay.
can reach out to them directly and say, "Hey, I'd like to become a supplier of your company. Please help me with the onboarding process." And then they should be able to respond to you and give you the steps that are unique to their company. And that, I would say, would really help you get your foot in the door, really help you overall in just getting a better understanding of that company and what they're willing to do. And, I would say for me, it's just
Hmm.
good to leverage the resources and connections you already have. So if you
Yeah.
do, if you're a customer of somebody, you want to make sure they're also doing the right thing and, coming full
Sure.
circle. So why not check out what they have available? And if you can't find it, ask. Go into, if it was a financial institution, go into their branch. If it's, the automotive, who, where's the dealership? Where's their, contact us? They will likely route you to someone to answer the question who can
Makes
push you in the
sense.
right
That
direction.
makes sense. Wow. I'm so grateful that you said yes and came on and shared
Took a
your.
while.
Yes, yes, but I was going to be patient either way because I knew, like, just listening to your journey and listening to what you were looking to do, and hearing you, I was just like, no, Lanisha, you really have something to share, um, for people, because even how you live your life yourself, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm listening to you, like, so many people, so many businesses, so many families, communities can be blessed and can connect with what you've said and can use it for sustainable measures, practices, and connections for a healthy and profitable business.
Yeah,
Sometimes we don't put.
I really hope so.
Yes, yes, that profitable part, whatever
Mhm.
we have to get through our money stories and things of that nature, that's what I'm going to start focusing on too, because we
Mhm.
have so many different connections from historical or our family of origin or all the things. But
Right.
we do need to look at it, like you said, you said number one, you focus on your business, creating value, and whatever that means that needs to possibly be looked at, adjust it and then pivot it, that's something that we all can do. So I am so grateful that you came on today. So what I'm going to ask is, how can people connect with you either on LinkedIn? Because I know, like, generally, like, your organization is one thing, but how can people connect with you? Like you said, it doesn't simply always have to be like, what can this person do for me? But they can
Right.
follow you on LinkedIn. So how can people, if they were interested in just getting to know Lanisha more, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, I would suggest LinkedIn.
Okay,
That's the
perfect.
best way to find out about my different supplier diversity activities. I post things when I have an event or a conference that I'm attending, or if I'm aware of anything that I can share or repost from something else. Like if a chamber happens to post something and I'm
Nice.
able to share it, I'll put it there. But yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. And that's the best way to keep in contact with me. And feel free to send me a message. It can take a while for me to respond, but I
Yes.
do look at them and I do respond.
Don't
Just
overwhelm her, everybody. Don't
yeah,
overwhelm.
just be patient. I appreciate that.
Yes. But the thing that you said too, there are so many different people. Sometimes I just want to share this with viewers. Don't always look for people with the specific title that you think that will help you. You be the person that someone wants to connect with, and then be nice to people. I mean, literally, that is what this this is what the channel is all about, because we can be around so many people, but we can look through people and we can look over people. That's not creating a space where people want to be around you. So I know that makes it harder, because it's like I'm trying to get on, or I'm trying to, promote myself. But being kind is a good promotion strategy. I promise you, it really is. Like, it can be a competitive edge.
Yeah, it's that saying about what is it? You get more, was it milk with honey or something like that?
Yes, yeah,
Milk with
yes.
honey
You can
versus
catch more
not.
bees with honey than, yeah,
Yeah,
with
then
vinegar or
something else.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I shouldn't bring it up unless I actually know it. But
But I hear
it
what you're
goes to
saying.
that, yeah,
Yes.
to that kindness aspect. And for me, it's I would also say, kind of to your point around promoting yourself. And I know that can be hard for a lot of people, especially if you're an introvert or you're a
Mhm.
little bit more private. I think it's just important to be authentic to yourself and be authentically allow your voice to shine
Mhm.
when you feel it, versus stifling yourself. And that's the best thing you can do. I don't like to ever require people to do more than what they are comfortable with. And I know, Jasmine, you are very similar in that aspect.
Mhm.
So I would say, do what you're comfortable with, be as nice as you can. And if your being nice happens to be being quiet, then do that.
Yeah,
It doesn't all
seriously.
nice isn't
Love it.
always,
Yes.
saying too much or saying a lot. It's just whatever you're comfortable with.
I love that. And I smile as I'm listening to you, because you embody that in saying, like, oh, you say yes that you would do this interview. But it's like, let me, get ready for it. So what I
Absolutely.
appreciate in that, like, you are, again, authentic to you, where you weren't just going to get on just because you knew you had something to say, but you wanted to share it when you were ready. And what you share today, I hope that everyone that listened and who listen and will listen to this, they will be able to say, like, you know what, I can do this. So are there any parting words that you have before we close this interview? I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
I just would say that I really enjoyed it. It was a great ending to my day. And I just thank you, Jasmine, for respecting my process. And I love seeing how far you've come in your process. It's truly inspirational. I appreciate you for following your dreams and your desires and
Mm.
really exploring what's out there for you and where your interest lies. It's something that I think we all should try to do and really
Yeah.
work to create the lives that we want as best
Mhm.
as we can.
I love it. I love it. And with that, everyone, this is Lanisha Mullin, a beautiful young lady that you will maybe see in the headlines, but even if you didn't, guess what? She's still somebody, because
Still good.
that's what, exactly. How about that? That's how we're going to end that. But thank you so much, friend. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here today. You are welcome. I am so grateful for you being here. And you know what? It's amazing what book nerds can do, because this is where it started.
That's right.
I love it. So until next time, everybody, be authentically you and don't be afraid to try. And if you don't succeed the first time, if at the first you don't succeed, I'm trying to do an old tribute to Aaliyah, but it didn't work.
Well, it's all right. I kind of heard it a bit.
Kind of. But you know what? Don't give up. You're worth it, and who you are. I say this to people now, it informs what you do. So be the most best and authentically you that you can be. All right, until next time, we'll see you later.